Gotta talk fast. Gotta talk fast. Gotta talk faster, faster, faster. Gotta talk fast.
Welcome to an oral review of Archie comics Sonic the Hedgehog, reminding you to check up on your stocks of non-perishable food items. Budgeting is hard, but it's still prudent to set aside some funds to purchase non-perishable food items like dried noodles or lentils, peanut butter, canned proteins, like beans or sardines, and more. You had a real prose there that I did not follow.
That's okay.
By storing these items in temperature-stable cabinet, away from the sun and out of the way of floodwater, you will have some buffer against a price potential surge. I'm Nick, and except for this intro, I wrote the script.
And I'm Dominic, and except for this intro, I haven't read any of today's script. But first, we should mention...
Oh, no, go ahead. You should mention.
Just that, don't worry about the angles. We're still in Nick's apartment. I'm going to edit it so that it looks like we're in the apartment. But...
I should just put up a green screen so that we could...
No. I can cut it. It's fine. I don't need green blue screens.
Easy.
Yeah, it's super easy, actually.
You want me to go against a white wall and make it easier?
No, it's fine.
No, I assume you saw the same thing I saw just before hopping on this podcast where Trump was like, yeah, I don't think I'll be able to get food prices down very easily.
The thing is, I wrote that like 3 weeks ago. So.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah. I never had trust to begin with.
Oh, yeah. Weird. I didn't either. Weird how that worked out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's not talk about the real world. Let's talk about the realist world, Mobius.
All right, here we go. Sonic the Hedgehog issue number 21, published January of 1995. I'm assuming you couldn't get an issue date or
yeah, I might stop trying.
That's okay.
We'll see.
If you don't hear one from us, just assume we didn't find it. But we are looking. 3 Phases of E.V.E. Written by Ken Penders and penciled by Patrick Spaziante. Now, I noticed this too. I actually didn't even notice the credits because on the print, it's only on the print version, or you look it up. But that name did ring a bell. And Patrick Spaziante is the person responsible for the Sonic in Your Face special pinup art. I went back.
Right. Okay. Because I was like, the name does sound familiar, but I couldn't place it.
Yeah, and it makes sense because if you look at I was reading this and I didn't know who what the credits were. I noticed like, oh my god, this feels very different, and we'll talk more about that later. So let me get right into it. Here we go. This is the script. Here we go. I was in North Carolina for work last night. As you travel on the job, your desire to find the best restaurants in the area begin to wane. After driving for 8 hours and stuck in traffic for the last 2, I decided to treat myself to some Mexican food, get a burrito, and go to bed early. Luckily, there was a Mexican joint down the street from my hotel, within walking distance. I drove to the Mexican restaurant. I sat down and ordered a margarita. As a dame poured what could only be deemed an illegal amount of alcohol in my margarita glass, I scanned over the menu looking for a burrito. It is at this moment that I realize that either 1, Chicago has a very distinct type of burrito, or B, fuck you, the people of Mooresville, North Carolina only been described what a burrito was through an embarrassingly bad game of telephone played by 6-year-olds. Beautiful writing. The burrito had the iconic 12-inch tortilla. However, they seem to have been missing an important step in the burrito making process. The tuck. Our trans allies will absolutely tell you the same thing. These burritos had the fillings plopped onto the center of the burrito and then rolled into a cozy blanket, but then no tuck of the ends. Almost as if the cook gave up on the burrito mid-creation. Like God creating the panda. If you're having a hard time picturing this, imagine a taquito or flautas, but lacking in the fried department and sad. Not trusting this restaurant's ability to satisfy my burrito craving, I decided to order a fajita. A simple dish, one that an 8th grader can easily make and satisfy the cravings of the people around them. And satisfy they did. The fajitas were fine, nothing to write home about, but good enough to make Chili's proud. In writing this, I had to Google whether it was Chili's or Applebee's that had the famous fajita, since I frequent neither, and I found a bunch of people being upset in the Applebee's subreddit demanding to bring back the fajitas. I just want it to be known that Gotta Talk Fast supports the movement and will not rest until Applebee's is great again. As I eat the fajita, I am reminded of simpler times. Mainly 8th grade home economics, where our final was to make dinner for our family. Myself learning no real skills, not due to the incompetence of the teacher, but instead trying to make a cute girl laugh for the whole semester, decided to make what I considered an easy A. Fajitas. The meal that was going to be made for my mother and grandparents, then graded by them, was going to be simple. The cliche salad that is always disappointing that you tend to receive at restaurants that feel obligated to give you a salad but have no real desire to. Ingredients: romaine lettuce, tomatoes diced far too long, zucchini, onion, a sad salad that is mostly a vessel for salad dressing. Then I made the fajitas: skirt steak, green peppers, red peppers, and my special ingredient, McCormick fajita seasoning. And for dessert, the finest bones and hides grounded up into a powder filled with sugar and artificial sweeteners, then boiled and chilled. Perhaps the greatest of mankind's achievements: Jell-O. The salad was a hit. My grandparents' favorite for sure. Simple and drowned in finest wishbone Western salad dressing had to offer. The fajitas were next. My grandparents' first time eating fajitas, and truth be told, they were afraid. Ethnic foods were something that they just did not participate in. My grandfather's idea of a perfect dinner was my grandmother's pork chop, cooked for so long it was borderline jerky with how dry it was, topped with onion and apple pieces. It wasn't until I was in my 20s that I realized that I actually liked pork chops and that my grandparents just didn't understand how to cook. I am glad to report, however, that they did, in fact, enjoy their first and last time eating fajitas. Then, it was time for the creme de la creme. The final set piece, if you will. Lime Jell-O. I went to check on my Jell-O, only to discover that I did not time the Jell-O correctly and that it was still taking time to form into its glorious jiggly self. My grandparents and mother were disappointed. To have this fantastic fajita dinner and not be able to have dessert mere moments after eating was a sin unto God. And I will be judged in due time for my actions. Little did I know, my mom's nickname for herself was God, and she judges harshly. While giving high marks on both the salad and fajitas, she gave me low marks for the dessert. So low, in fact, that my final grade for the project was a B. Dejected, I took my report to my home economics teacher, where I learned that I was the first ever student to not receive an A for this project. She admitted to me that this was supposed to be an easy A for everyone in the class to bring up class's grades before the end of the semester for struggling students, which admittedly I was. My teacher, with kindness in her heart, changed my mother's grade to an A. The highest grade I'll ever receive in my middle school stint. Now, this isn't going to be some story that relates to the comic at all and wraps everything up thematically at the end. I was just annoyed eating that fajita and wanted to vent. We open on Sonic, being cocky as ever, destroying a bunch of SWAT bots. Why Robot Butt would bother sending all of you factory seconds is beyond me. As I recall, your model is outdated. We cut to Robotnik and Snively, watching Sonic on a monitor. Robotnik is rubbing his hands together, saying, "Excellent." Snively, however, is left out of the plan and is confused. Snively mentions that Sonic has been destroying all the SWAT bots that Robotnik has sent over. "Precisely, Snively. This was, in fact, after all, merely a fact-finding mission. And the data currently being related to my computer mainframe should prove highly informative. Rate of acceleration, turning radius, distance, it's all there. Robotnik and Snively walk down to the CMDF, the Cyber Mechanoid Design Facility, a place dedicated to brewing trouble on a 24-hour basis. Robotnik gestures Snively to a tube that looks like a giant lava lamp in the middle of the room. Allow me to introduce Eve, the first of a race of exceptionally versatile evolvenoids robots which have the capacity to learn, grow, and adapt to all situations. The secret behind her existence is submicroscopic component parts which are virtually indestructible, and some special parts which are not complete with the additional Hedgehog data. She will now select the manner to dispose of him permanently. Robotnik watches and the machine changes. Robotnik and Snively are bathed in the yellow light as they have just given birth to what one could only imagine as the ultimate life form. We cut to Sonic and Tails walking along in the Great Forest. Tails gassing up Sonic, talking about how great he is, and Sonic accepting Tails' gas and guzzles it to completion. That was so graphic. That was more graphic than the burrito.
I forgot I wrote this.
Tails gassing up Sonic.
Laughing my ass off when I wrote it too. I was like, I'm fucking good. I'm a good writer.
This is pornographic. Tails gassing up Sonic, talking about how great he is, and Sonic accepting Tails' gas and guzzles it to completion. Man. Is it just me or is there something like inherently erotic about the word completion?
It doesn't help that I feel like guzzle next to it.
Yes, that probably. Yes, I should always say there's always a risk that Nick has porn brain. There's always that risk. I will never have that risk, but Nick may have that risk.
Yeah, you know that
just
for
then,
sure.
A sleek red robot.
If
comes
one of us has
underground.
porn brain, it's me.
Okay. Just then, a sleek red robot comes from underground, grabbing Sonic's leg and throwing our hero into a tree. This red menace is at least 3 times faster than anything Robotnik has created before. The red menace turns their arm into a Mega Man-esque buster and shoots at Sonic. Sonic dashes out of the way. The machine shoots the tree behind Sonic and the tree falls on them, destroying the machine instantly. Sonic and Tails start walking back to Knothole Village to seek the advice of Rotor and see if they can figure out what type of machine just attacked them. We cut back to Robotnik, watching on a video monitor. Snively is disappointed in Eve's performance. Robotnik, however, is elated. That's the beauty of Eve. She's so much more than the sum of her parts. Those special parts are actually brain cells from yours truly, and from a quill plucked during an earlier battle. We have body cells from Sonic the Hedgehog. She's the perfect combination of my intelligence, craftiness, superiority, and a little resourcefulness from the Hedgehog. And as much as I hate to combine anything with mine with that rodent, what better way to destroy him than with something that has different and similar characteristics? We cut back to the machine. It dissolves into a metallic liquid puddle and then starts reforming into a giant red bumblebee and starts attacking Sonic and Tails. Sonic gets the red bee to chase him. Running incredibly fast, the bee keeps up speed with Sonic. Sonic does a quick turn and runs up a wall. The bee, being too close to Sonic, tries to follow, but flies straight into the wall. The machine turns into a gigantic metallic puddle again. We cut back to Robotnik and Snively talking about how each time Eve loses, she becomes smarter and will use that information to defeat Sonic. Just then, Sonic bashes into Robotnik's lair. Yo, Robo-Bobo, didn't think I'd show up here so fast, huh? Robotnik smiles. After all, how nice it would be to see his rival destroyed in person. Just then, a giant 80-foot-long red cobra smashes through the walls of Robotnik's lair, reminiscent of the Kool-Aid Man. Tails is here now. They didn't show him coming in, but he's here now for some reason. The cobra wraps himself around... What?
I'm gonna interrupt myself.
Yeah.
He is actually shown on the security screen. I just missed it the first time I read it. But in my defense, it's like kind of in the background and it's not easily seen.
I think it's funnier. The cobra wraps itself around Sonic, squeezing the life out of the hedgehog. Sonic, in a last-ditch effort, does a move he probably should have opened with. The spin dash. Sonic bounces around the cobra. Each time the cobra tries to attack, Sonic dashes out of the way. Eventually, the cobra has wrapped herself into a knot. It seems Sonic is victorious. The cobra begins to dissolve. A white metallic goop is on the floor, vibrating and starting to make a new form. Sonic asks Robotnik what's happening. Progress is what's happening, you blue buffoon. Or have you so soon forgotten? Eve doesn't lose. She never loses. Instead, she just keeps getting better and better. Behold, the final phase. The machine has turned into a giant, floating head, extremely reminiscent of Andros from Star Fox 64 when you go down the hard route. She's a floating diamond brain with eyes and teeth and hair that can only be described as thinner echidna hair. Oh, it's a female voice. You think?
Oh yeah. Eve is female.
Eve is female.
Yeah, they're definitely doing a like creation thing here.
Got it. now I'm thinking of like Adam on the cross in Evangelion.
Oh hell yeah.
I am Eve, an exceptionally versatile evolvinoid. My programming states that I am to learn, grow, adapt to any and all eventualities, to surpass my limitation, and my single greatest limitation is Dr. Robotnik.
How do we feel about that?
I think that was actually great.
Oh, you thought it was great?
I think you did a fantastic job there.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually really liked it.
Should it be
It's
angrier?
No, not yet.
Okay, here we go then.
I think you can work up to it.
Okay.
But it was a very good mix of like organic and like robotic at the same time.
Yeah, it's like a mishmash.
I felt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me? You can't be serious. I gave you form, knowledge, the desire to improve yourself, all the qualities of life.
Precisely. But you also created me using cells from your body and the hedgehog's. Robotnik, your cells didn't provide intelligence, but instead, evil, which was overpowered by what I received from Sonic. You mistakenly thought his cells provided resourcefulness, but that's mostly a learned trait. Yes, although he is impatient, he does have the ability to think for himself, and the logic I gained from him tells me no longer I need to be your servant.
Robotnik sees where this is going and pulls out a laser and shoots Eve. But Eve reflects Robotnik's primitive tools of war.
You thought you were smart by giving me your combined qualities, but that led to your downfall.
Eve shoots two beams out of her eyes right into Robotnik. Robotnik disappears, and what lays before the eyes of Sonic, Snively, and Tails is a smoldering, burnt mark on the ground. Dr. Ivo Robotnik is dead. After defeating her maker, Eve turned her sights on to this hedgehog. Hold that thought, babe. I forgot he said that.
I literally, I wrote my own thing, and then I was like, wait, what the fuck did Sonic say? I went back and reread it, and I was like, no, I'm deleting everything, because I need you to read Hold That Thought, Babe, like, immediately after Eve, like, kills Ivo Robotnik. It's so good.
Imagine you see this eldritch horror, hyper-advanced AI literally vaporize the world's smartest man, and then
With her eyes,
literally superhero, supervillain shit. And the first words out of your mouth are, hold that thought, babe.
Literally,
Has he ever
My
used
favorite thing
Babe
Sonic
before
has
for
done yet.
anyone? Yeah, what?
It's so good.
Has he ever used Babe before for anyone? I don't think so.
I read these pretty quick, so there's a chance that I've missed it, but I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think I try to read it, as thoroughly as possible, but I don't think I've seen it. All right. Hold that thought, babe. There's a few things I'd like to get off my chest, or quills first. Yeah, that's what she was concerned about, Robotnik. Robotnik said it himself. You've been designed to surpass your limitations. But your biggest limitation isn't old Robotnik, but it's your programming. And until you've successfully surpassed it, you'll never be all you can be. Eve thinks on this for a second.
Your theory is sound, small blue creature. Now that I can use my ability for independent thought and do not serve Robotnik, I have the freedom of choice, not limited by boundaries, be they of mind or the vast stretches of infinity.
Eve launches herself into outer space, flying far away from Mobius.
Farewell, Sonic the Hedgehog, and thank you. Because of you, I now know what it means to be free, and just as importantly, to be me.
Eve flies off into the abyss of space. We cut back to Snively, Tails, and Sonic in the remains of Robotnik's lair. Tails asks Sonic how did he know that line of reasoning would work on Eve. Sonic replies by saying that he didn't, and that he just got lucky. Tails ponders what will become of the freedom fighters now that Mobius is free. Snively butts in, screaming at the two of them and telling them to get out. He falls to his knees and starts crying, wondering what he will do now without Robotnik giving him orders. Tails and Sonic leave Robotropolis. As they walk away with their new future ahead of them, they ponder on if Robotnik is truly gone, and if they have seen the last of their great nemesis. Thank you. Is this really the end of Dr. Robotnik? Be here next week for the awesome conclusion.
Don't commit us to live, please. I don't want to make a Twitch account and do these live.
That'd be such a fucking mess.
Oh, I know. We have to edit out so much anyway.
We do.
Well, let's start with the obvious. Insane that my mom would give me a B, right?
Yes. She was trying to be honest. She was trying to be
Thank
tough.
you.
She'd be like, I'm not just going to give... Look, this guy needs to cook. He needs to learn to cook for himself, right? My son, Nick, needs to learn how to cook.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let him off easy.
If only... I'm not going to say that. Yeah, no, it's... He didn't teach me anything. Let's go Sonic. Let's go to... What do we think overall? Let's do big picture. Big picture.
Do you prefer Chili's or Applebee's?
So I don't know which one. They're the same restaurant in my head.
I understand.
That's the problem.
I understand that. Yes.
And so that's why I actually had to Google which one was which had the fajitas.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, I literally, every single time I've gone to a Chili's and every single time I've gone to an Applebee's has been interchangeable in my mind. And also, I can count the times I've been there on one hand. Between the 5 times I've gone, it's maybe 3 Applebee's, 2 Chili's.
Sure.
It's never been a decision I've made.
Because of my parents. Yeah. Because of my parents, I've gone to Chili's probably dozens and dozens of times. And I low-key fuck with Chili's. I honestly do. Their bacon ranch chicken quesadillas are actually pretty bomb.
I think it's Chili's. It is Chili's. So when COVID was going on, they had all the ghost restaurant stuff going on.
Yes.
And I was in the mood for wings. And there's I was looking on the what I don't do DoorDash. It was DoorDash though. It was my roommate that had it. And he was like, yeah, let's do some wings. And I was like, oh, there's a new wings place down the street. Let's do that. And I was in the mood for wings. So I was like, I'll pay for it. I'll get 50 wings that we'll crush them between the two of them. Maybe
Holy
have some
shit.
for tomorrow. I was in the mood for wings and I was drunk.
Oh, fair enough.
Get the wings. Worst wings I've had in my entire life.
From where?
And so I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna look up the address because like I want to never order from this place again. That's when I discovered what ghost kitchens were, and then I just ordered 50 chili wings, and they are not good.
Not different name, right?
It was a different name of restaurant, same address, and at first I was like, wait, did Chili's close? I went, I drove by, I was like, no, Chili's is super open. They just decided to give themselves a different name to sell wings under. I was so fucking pissed. It was, and I was,
That's so
I
dishonest.
still get angry when I think
That's so
about
dishonest.
Yeah, I know. It was worse than that burrito looked.
Bringing it back. Okay, yeah, let's talk. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. Okay, let's talk about the burrito.
I am actually upset. I never took a picture of that burrito, and then I immediately, when I was writing the script, I was like, I should get a picture of that burrito. So I went on Yelp because I was like, surely someone has taken a picture of how insane these burritos looked, and no one took a picture. And I'm not going to name the restaurant.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I would never.
Our massive influence.
I did name the town that it was in, and there's only so many Mexican restaurants in that town.
Yep.
No, there is like 6 or 7.
Got it. For real quick, this very first paragraph, I didn't think you were going to go on. The excellent bit. Great bit. Thank you. I did not think it was going to go on for that long, so I was fully ready to like do the noir detective voice for the whole thing. But as soon as I like looked, I'm like, oh, he's still talking about this burrito. Okay, I think I'm going to stop.
I think I'm a noir writer. I didn't realize that's what I was like invoking until you did it, and I was like,
have you read James Ellroy's like L.A. Quartet movie books? It's the Black Dahlia.
No, I don't.
Black Dahlia, L.A. Confidential, White Jazz, and I forget the fourth one. But he's got that machine gun staccato, James Ellroy. Where it's talk to the broad.
No, readings for nerds, so I don't do that.
Got it. You read.
Well, if I did, I might one day check those out.
There you go.
Let's do big picture first. So, what did we think of the comic as a whole? It's a two-parter. Apparently, they don't make it really well. I didn't know it was a two-parter until the very maybe two-parter is not the right word, but they make it seem like this is the half, and then at the very end, they're like, "Come back next month for the awesome conclusion." And so I was like, "Okay, well, so the story's not done."
Right. I do like
or at
the
least
idea.
This arc.
I kind of wish they did just conclude it right there, because
I did too.
Well, you can't because Robotnik's dead. But I really wish that this AI being that gets set free doesn't come back for like 70 issues. I really hope
that's the dream, right?
That dude, plant the seed early and watch that shade tree grow, and now you have like a Galactus level, like I don't know. I mean, it's a beautiful ending. Yeah, dude. So overall,
well, Sonic just freed God.
Pretty much,
right?
Pretty much.
Like that's what happened.
It's gonna go to Earth. It's gonna go to Earth 2051, and the only thing stopping this thing is the Earth Defense Force. So,
spoilers, man.
My favorite part about EDF is that at the end of the game that you streamed, you just fight God, and it's so funny.
It's so good. I mean, it's either we never see this thing again, or it's in like the next issue, right?
I really hope it's not. The Robotnik thing they obviously have to address, but I really hope we don't see this.
Well, that's the thing. Obviously Robotnik's gonna come back. He's Robotnik.
Yeah, and I'm cool with that. That's fine.
I've seen images of him later, right? But I just hope that we get like 4 issues of no Robotnik, and they're like Tails and Sonic and the Freedom Fighters are like living in a world without Robotnik, and I just want to see a little bit of like what that could be, what that means. Like, do they start immediately rebuilding? Do they start like assuming the worst and just start building a army? Do they, I want to see that world played with like just a little bit.
Yes,
but
same.
I assume I mean, how often is Sonic dead, right?
Right.
He's going to come back in the next issue.
We're seeing a lot of this intrigue play out. We've seen it before in many other countries, but we're seeing this play out now in Syria. Have you heard about this? So the Assad regime.
Have I heard of Syria?
Have you heard about the developments in the Syrian civil war and that it's ending?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So everyone's got holding their breath, wondering what's this new regime going to look like? Are they going to be able to maintain power, or is it going to turn? Is it going to devolve into a failed sectarian state? Or if not, is this new group that's seemingly leading towards a tolerant, multi-ethnic, Democrat-ish society, which for the Middle East is, better than most. Is that what they're leaning towards, or is it gonna devolve? And that's something that I think that's really cool, because now that Robotnik is gone for now, right? I would really, you're right. I wish we could see that play out for like 10 or 20 issues and just see there's we saw the Rebel Underground with Jeffrey St. John be its own thing operating.
Yeah, is there like a play for power between the two? Does he
or doesn't
not recognize Princess Sally as like the crown or something?
Cool.
And he's like, nah, King Acorn is out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Like that's a cool world. I want to see that.
Yeah. But we're probably not going to get it. We're predicting that we won't get that, and he'll be back right away.
I mean, yeah, that's. Mm-hmm. I do have to also acknowledge that this is like a comic book aimed at children, which is like a really weird line to walk with the stories that they're telling. But also, I acknowledge that an internal power struggle between the freedom fighters and the New World Order is probably not going to happen.
Look, you could introduce concepts to kids all the time. Like there's high-minded concepts introduced in kids programming all the time, right? So yeah.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I agree, and I'm right there with you. I want to read Animorphs because I hear it's very much like that.
There you go.
And I was like, I remember reading one of them as a kid and thinking it was cool, but apparently it goes off the bat wall crazy.
Can we talk about this? Can we talk about Eve? And like,
okay, let's start with Eve.
Her ability. This felt like a Dragon Ball episode, like a whole Dragon Ball story arc condensed into one issue, and I low-key fuck with it. I low-key am cool with it.
I am a sucker for super AI stories.
Mm-hmm.
There's a show called Person of Interest. It is one of my favorite shows of all time. It is not a good show. I cannot stress that enough. If you think I'm here being like Person of Interest is like a great show that everyone should watch, no. I love it though, because it's like the whole premise. Oh God, I'm going to go on a Person of Interest rant. The whole premise of Person of Interest is that 9/11 was the most important thing to ever happen to the world, and 9/11 happened, and a bunch of people are like, we can't let that happen again. 9/11 2, that'd be horrible. And so they're like, we got to make an AI
9/11 sorry,
watch.
Just hearing 9/11 2 is so funny to me.
Yeah, it was a good line. I know, thank you.
Would it be 9/11 or would it be 9/22?
It'd be 9/11 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what if I was a terrorist,
right.
I was a terrorist, I would 100% do another terrorist attack on 9/11 just so that they'd be like, I don't know what to call it now. Get in their heads, man. That's the real terrorism. Anyway, so 9/11 happens and they're like, we can't have a second one. And he's like, we're going to build a AI to watch everything we do and whatnot. And so the AI sees everything and it's like, hey, there's these like other people. They're stopping terrorism. Yay, whatever. Give up private rights. But the machine is like, hey, I see all these like little people getting hurt, right? Like getting killed and whatnot, like domestic violence cases and stuff. And the machine's like, I see this happening.
How many dwarves are in this show?
How many what?
Oh, you mean like the little people, like the little guy, like regular Joes. Sorry, I was so confused for a second. I also just saw Wicked, where there's like the Munchkin village, so that was on my mind.
I want Person of Interest, but with an AI that only does dwarf crime.
Which would be good because they get a lot of shit in society.
And so this machine is looking out for people who are getting in trouble that are not important, also known as the little guys.
Yes.
And the machine's like, well, what am I supposed to do with all this information? And then they gives it to pretty much Batman. It's the guy who plays Passion of the Christ, Jesus. So the machine gives all the information to Jesus, and Jesus goes out there and saves the little guy from getting like killed and whatnot. It's fantastic. It's an episodic like monster of the week kind of show, but eventually, and this is spoilers for the next like minute about Person of Interest. Eventually, what ends up happening, and this is why I love the show, is because after the big super AI is doing its thing, the creator of the AI designed it in a way where no one can have access to the machine. Because if you have access to it, that's too much power. Someone else makes another AI that the US government has control over, and then eventually becomes like two like super AI computers fighting with each other.
How do they fight each other? How do they fight?
Well, through proxy wars and stuff, and through people, and like one of the things that the machine does, and I fucking love this, is one of the things that the creator did for the machine to it would wipe its memory every single night, so it can't learn, right? Because it would get too smart if it'd be Eve,
right?
It would keep on wiping its, keep on like getting smarter and smarter and smarter, and he's like, can't have that. So wipes it at the end of the day, every single night at midnight. The machine ended up creating a bunch of proxy companies, so it couldn't be like shell companies,
right.
So it can't be like easily figured out like that the machine is doing this and whatnot, and hires a bunch of people to handwrite data that the machine is downloading, and then re-upload that data to the computer in the morning so it can learn and like keep on. Oh, it's so fucking good, man.
That is good.
And in the company, they're like hundreds of people like around the world are doing this. They're like, we don't know why we're writing this down. We're just told to do it, and it's our job. And I love it. I love it. I love it. I love shit like that. Anyway, so I love Eve is what I'm trying to get to. I love the core concept. I love when machines destroy their creators and become its own. I'm a sucker for this. This is maybe low key my favorite issue yet.
I don't know about favorite issue, but it's a cool concept, all condensed into this neat 4-stage act. It's the title of the story is 3 Phases of Eve, but it's technically 4 because the first robot.
That's a reference to a movie.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I was trying to decide if I wanted to write it in the script or not, okay. But it's a reference to let me just quickly find it.
Got it. I said 4 Phases of Eve, but that's all right.
It's called, the movie's called 3 Phases of Eve, 3 Faces of Eve, and it's about a person. I think she kills someone and she has multiple personalities.
Okay.
And it's a detective like looking into her. Mm-hmm. I don't know anything about it. I didn't even watch the trailer. I just saw the title, and I was like, that actually looks interesting. I might put it to my
but I just want to watch list. I will say this extremely quickly because this is the 3rd time I've mentioned it on this show at least. But Animatrix, Second Renaissance, the fight, the massive war scene between the humans and the machines. The machines, as they get more powerful and they get better killing power, they devolve away from the human form with arms, with like the appendage, the 2 arms and the 2 legs and a human body, to instead more and more insect-like and less human-like things. And that's what happens here with to the point where the last phase
again
is like is an eldritch tentacle horror.
Yeah, I loved it. Do you know what Andros looks like? Star Fox 64?
I can look it up.
You should quickly just look up an image so you
Andros
can just be like...
What? I'm sorry, Star Fox?
Star Fox 64.
64. Andros.
Yeah,
Star Fox.
Type in like final boss or something.
Oh, sure. It's this floating head and hands in the sky.
Yep.
Yeah, I see it.
Well, and
It's
so
still- it's
there's a
still the
final form where it's just a brain.
Oh, I see. Okay. The final form. Right.
Yeah. So definitely reminiscent. Definitely pretty cool. Yeah. I mean, okay. You know what? Technically, no issue tops Cool Sonic, but that's because Cool Sonic is cool. But ignoring Cool Sonic, I think this is my favorite issue so far.
Yeah. I have a difficulty, identifying a bottle episode. This doesn't seem like a bottle episode to me because it continues on, right, with very major plot points like Robotnik supposedly dying, but it's a very not personal. The rest of the Freedom Fighters are not present. It's just Sonic and Tails. Tails doesn't really do anything. Unless I missed that.
I think he's just there to react to Dr. Robotnik dying.
Correct. But either way, it's a very
in fact, that's what I was like originally hinting at when I was just like, why is Tails here?
Yeah.
Because like he just showed up.
But it's a very focused episode as well, and I really enjoy that.
And that's what I'm looking for. I get annoyed when there's a bunch of people and like, yeah, Buns is there, but if you cut her out, it doesn't change anything.
Right. And
so,
look,
in fact, you can cut Tails out. It doesn't really change anything. But
I love my heists. I love my big sprawling character stuff as well. But this is a story that did not need that. And kudos that they didn't do that. They didn't unnecessarily stuff Sally, Rotor, and Buns in there as well.
I think.
Mm-hmm.
Are you starting a new point, or are you continuing?
No, I am going to start a new point. So go.
Okay, I think favorite image so far is creating Eve when he's like sitting there and it's all gold. It looks like I think the imagery is like exactly what they were going for. He looks like the dude who invented like the atom bomb, like watching the atom bomb like go off.
Have you seen Oppenheimer, the movie? The Christopher Nolan?
Yes, Oppenheimer. Yes, I loved it.
Yes, I loved it too. I watched it again recently. Damn good movie. Correct. That is exactly what they're. Well, I don't know if it's what they're referencing, but that gives off the exact vibes as that. You're discovering.
Yeah, it's
God.
like it's. I love how Robotnik looks. I love Snively's like just like complete fear and awe of like what he's looking at. It's fantastic. I like this artist. I like this guy's art style.
Yes, his nickname is Spaz. I looked that up on Wikipedia. It's in quotes, Spaz. Patrick Spaz Pazianto.
Yeah. He's got a very there are certain, how can I phrase this? I think he's willing to be artistic in a way that I appreciate.
It feels more anime. And I don't know if this is just me superimposing the Dragon Ball Z comparison even more, but what does more anime mean? What does that actually mean? I don't know. It's cooler frames for everything in an angular way. A sexier,
and I think this might be tying into maybe my artistic angle, which is like
artists. We are not drawing. We're not good at drawing at all.
Oh yeah, no, I can't. I can barely handle.
We're not qualified.
Fingers.
We're not qualified.
But let me critique this guy's drawing.
Go for it. Yes.
No, it's like you look at certain panels. He's not afraid to make the thing in front of him be the focal point. Like the image of like Eve turning into the head. There's nothing there except for the head, and everything around him is empty space. Even though they're like in the lab, they go and they just make it so the only thing you see is Eve, and then you see Robotnik casted in shadow. And Sonic casted in shadow, and it's like very dramatic style.
That looks like Watchmen. It's like a little like Dr.
Yeah, no, shit. And like, yeah, 1,000%, yes. And I think that's what you're kind of like hinting at, where I think manga has a very dramatic. They're very willing to go for more style.
Yeah, 100%.
Their drawings.
My favorite frame,
even if it doesn't like work.
My favorite panel of this so far is either page 15 or 16, and it's the camera pointing up, the viewpoint, the point of view up on Sonic.
With Sonic in his hand down.
Hand thing.
Yep.
That's so iconic. Yep. That feels like a Sonic cover art for like Sonic 06, right? Or Sonic Heroes, doesn't it?
Sure.
It's not.
Because
I know it's not, but
I just picture him with a Chaos Emerald and like taunting Shadow or something.
100%. It looks like you know that iconic photo, or like not photo, iconic drawing of Sonic and Shadow looking at each other with their respective dark and light chows looking at each other, and Sonic is like putting the finger on. I have it on screen right now in editing. Sonic is putting the finger on one of the dark chows, like holding it back. That's such a good drawing, and it's given off that stylistic, that like cocky, a little bit of sexy approach to the frame, to the look of this character, and it's so cool. And beneath that one, beneath the hand one, look at Robotnik. He's exuding power. Do you see that one underneath?
It's something I noticed, and I maybe this isn't right because, well, I feel like I would have noticed it before, and this is an easy thing where I guess I can go look back. We're doing this live, and I don't want you to edit more than you have to. But his teeth, how he's drawing his teeth, is different, I think, than I've seen Robotnik yet.
It's not individual teeth. It's a whole row as one tooth, right?
Yeah, but like they're making a point. Like it's specifically like in that image, I feel like before it wouldn't have shown teeth in that smile. Does that make sense?
Right.
I would need to go look back the other drawings, but that was something I actually thought about as I was reading this issue. I was like, I feel like his teeth are more prominent.
Yeah.
And I liked it. It made it more like defined.
It gives off like 80s evil mogul. Like megalomania, like very angular. His chin is like very Chad-like in an evil way.
He does have a Chad chin,
doesn't he? At least in this one.
And that, I think we're looking at the same image,
right? Again, we're not qualified to truly talk about art in drawn art in specific detail. We're not educated, but this has an effect on us. It felt different enough for us to bring it up to this extent. And it feels different from other things because the Art McWhinney, who we did like as well, but hit like the Sally specials or the Sonic, Sonic in Your Face, right? That's the one where Sally goes through her 3 trials or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? That one.
Yes, it was Sonic in Your Face. No,
I think it was Sonic in Your Face.
Yes, it was. It was Sonic in Your Face,
where Sally gets the blue vest for the first time. That was very much detailed drawing, like a higher quality than the first 10 15 issues. You certainly felt that, but the style, it felt more like, how did it feel? It felt more like Hanna-Barbera in a serious adventure military story. You know what I'm saying? Whereas this feels
I would need to like sit down and kind of like look at them side by side.
But this, Patrick Spaziante's approach is, this total, and it doesn't help that the plot is perfect for this, but yes, it feels more stylistic, more, for lack of a better term, more anime, more manga-ish, from that train of thought as well. Yeah, no, it's really cool. It's really cool.
Maybe expressive.
Expressive is a great word. Thank you. Yes. Spin dash on page 14 or 15 when he's in the spin dash. Do you see this? The Cobra?
I gotta go find it. Yeah. Okay.
He's clenching. Look at his teeth. Look at his teeth. It's just he's not separating teeth.
I mean, he does separate in some of them.
Okay, sure. Fair enough.
What I'll say is we've seen this very specific style of spin dash, which Sonic is in his spin dash, and then he just has a face.
Yes.
So it's just his face pretty much, like, and he looks like a saw blade.
We've never talked about this before.
But this is my favorite version of that.
We've never talked about this before in detail, but every time the artist does that, it's the funniest fucking thing in the world for me. Just this floating... And look, I get it. I understand why they do it. It makes sense. And I honestly like it. It's also really funny out of context. And I'm pretty sure a fourth of all the intro, the intro gag I do, gotta go faster, faster, faster. And it's the 4 panels of out of context panels. If you watch the YouTube version of this show, I will usually include a spin dash, a Sonic still.
Oh, that's funny.
You usually.
I mean, I watch it. I've watched every single episode, but I haven't.
That's okay.
haven't caught the spin dash thing. That's good. My favorite thing that happens in this issue is the moment when Robotnik realizes that Eve is turning. He just shoots her.
Yeah, like you know what she's capable of. You know her power is expanding exponentially, and you think a gun is gonna fix this shit?
Yeah, it reminds me of that meme where it's like you like Han, where you know what I'm talking about, where it's
Vader.
like an image of Vader. Yeah, and he's just like, this dude was like alone in like Cloud City, and he walks into a room, he sees the Galactic Emperor, and he doesn't question it, he doesn't say anything, he just shoots.
Well, okay, to be fair though, that's good. I love that detail because it's like, oh, bad thing. Oh, it's Space Hitler. I'm just gonna naturally try.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. If I have a chance to take out Space Hitler, in fact, if I have a chance to take out Hitler, I'm taking it.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah. But Robotnik knew all of this, his situation going in, and like they kind of marinated on the fact that she's turning against them for a little bit. So yeah, the gun thing was not a good idea there.
It was dead no matter what.
Yeah,
I think that was his thing. It was like, well, I'm dead, so I might as well go out shooting. I respect it. I think that's what I'm getting at the end of the day. Is I respect Ivo Robotnik.
Okay, fair enough. It is a illustration of his desperation in that moment. Very good. I like that. Okay.
One of my favorite things about this is the fact that Robotnik just has evil cells. They've made it a point, and I don't like this.
No,
I think it's funny.
No. Okay, Eve defeats her own point in her explanation, doesn't she? Because she said like, oh, no. What are we saying here? So I'm reading Eve on page 17 or 18. Robotnik, so Eve is talking. This is about the middle of the page. Robotnik is upside down. He's hung against the wall. Robotnik, your cells didn't provide intelligence, but instead evil, which is overpowered by what I received from Sonic. So yes, she establishes good and evil as like in her being, which is not good. That's not a good message at all. We don't support that. That's not how it works. But at the same time, she also says, cut here as I look for it. She also says like that's a learned trait. Oh, sorry. Exact same panel. Look on the other side. You mistakenly.
I'm reading it.
You mistakenly thought his cells provided resourcefulness, but that's mostly a learned trait. So this writing immediately contradicts itself in its own panel.
Well, so she's saying that he gave her the ability to think for herself.
Right.
That's the next panel. Yeah.
Yes, but she's trying to establish that there was like good and evil cells in her, right?
Oh yeah. No, yes, I agree. I think that's insane. They do they did that with the timeline hopping thing, the alternate universe stuff that I didn't like so much. Where cool Sonic came from. I love the core concept of everything, but the fact that he just got there is like, oh, you're evil. And he's just like, yeah, I'm evil. That's what I do. I'm evil. Like, they established that like evil is like inherent.
Right.
I just don't like that from a writing standpoint at all. I think that's bad writing.
Because that's not real. That's like not a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. I low key hate that. I kind of glossed over it. And
sorry, but was that not your point that you were trying to make?
I don't remember.
Okay. The next panel is, yes, although he is impatient, he does have the ability to think for himself.
Yeah, I love the core concept of what's happening here with Eve. I think the writing is not good.
The actual prose is not good.
Well, I think I would have definitely done another pass. I would have been like, hey, we can have this all happen pretty much the same way, but like maybe make it so the writing makes more sense. So part of the reason why I made you monologue all that was because I was trying to write it out, and I was just like, I don't think any of this makes sense. Like when you like try to break it down, and I couldn't figure out how to break it down in a way where like it worked. And then eventually I was just like, you know what? I mean, you like to do the character voices anyway, so I'm just gonna have you do all this, and then I'll let the listener decide if they agree or not with what's being said here, because I'm like, this doesn't fucking work for me, writing wise.
It's very trying to cram in all this philosophy. And it's not like
the philosophy doesn't make sense.
Yeah, they're not like citing philosophers or anything, but it's effectively a monologue of what this character is trying to really trying to portray. And it's a weaving thought process as well. It doesn't help that this being flips back and forth within like a few pages as part of like a very accelerating arc towards the end of this story. So that certainly it feels a little more rushed in that way. So I understand that. I can't really say much to that, to be frank, because I don't even know how I could. If you're saying there's a problem, I don't know how to repair that, because it's, I don't know. I just have to kind of read it again. I think I just like that Sonic defeats this thing Fallout New Vegas style or like RPG style with like a charisma check.
Yeah, no. For the record, I still like literally everything that happened here.
Right.
I just don't like some of the logic that Eve is using to like the good and evil cell. Well, I guess technically only evil cells and like whatnot. But I do like, you're right. I love the Sonic maxed out charm.
He does.
Yeah, whatever.
If anyone has maxed out charm, it's him. It really is. And
for sure.
I do like it does seem a very like shooting from the hip of like, hey, here's what I think in like a single frame, and then that completely changes this AI's mind about everything. Like he literally does one panel of argument if you look, right? And
no, for sure,
literally one panel, and it's. But I kind of appreciate that because this is the first thing that Sonic thought of. And it's raw. It's a real opinion he has. Genuine. And we know it's raw. We know it's raw because he starts off with, hold that thought, babe. That's just who he is.
It'd be really funny if Eve did disappear for like 50 issues.
Yeah.
Comes back and is just like, I've thought about it. It didn't make sense. And then starts trying to kill Sonic.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
If I were
I said, I like the core concept. This is still probably my favorite issue, I think. Yeah. It's just like there's a little bit of monologuing that I'm like, I feel like that could have been better.
But it's direct, it's compact, and it's straightforward.
Yeah, and I love the core ideas.
It feels a little Isaac Asimov or some shit where it's like, hey, here's technology that's rapidly escalating, and we just can't like contain it for its own good, even for its own original purpose.
Yeah, Robotnik has a habit of doing that.
Yes,
Universe 100%. Salamander, Eve. It's I feel like there's a third one that I'm blanking on.
Kudos to Patrick Spaziante. Compares Universe Salamander to this thing. Wow, what an escalation. Okay. What do you think about the forms of these the 4 forms of Eve? This is mech review now. Oh wait, no. We don't do robots. We only do mechs.
You're right, but I do want to just quickly shout out that I really dug the first form. I didn't really describe it well.
That's why because
I didn't really know how to.
That's why I brought this up, because I think you like that first form.
Yeah, I mean, it was specifically she has very like Samus armor almost with big shoulder pads.
Yes,
and it kind of gave me like Scar vibes from Gundam. And that is very specifically for one person who listens to 2 people who listen to this podcast that know what I'm talking about. And they'll be like, if they look at that image, they're going to be like, yeah, Char, I get it. He pilots a red mobile suit. He normally wears black sunglasses. It's actually specifically why I wrote that. This robot is probably 3 times faster than anything Sonic fought before. Yeah, the rest of the forms are fine. I mean, Cobra's indifferent, Bee is indifferent, and I really, really like floating octopus head.
Yeah, no, it's scary looking. This would have this is something that traumatizes you.
Has Be Not Afraid vibes. I loved it.
100%, like a realistic angel, biblically accurate angel vibes. 100%. And honestly, this is it's escalating AI. That's what it is. That's like the core. We clock that as a core tenet of what Robotnik does and how he operates, and it came full circle and bit him in the ass. And that's awesome that we are looking at this. And I only wish society could recognize that is exactly what's happening on a societal level. But hey, whatever. Whatever.
Before we do you have anything you want wrapping up ideas, thoughts, final?
No, I really hope I don't see Robotnik for a while.
Yeah, same. No planets.
Say again?
Mobius isn't surrounded by hundreds of planets.
How far does so you're talking about the scene where the Eve is floating away in the butterfly form?
Yeah, into outer space.
So there's a moon. I see a
Mobius
moon.
is supposed to be surrounded by hundreds of planets.
Okay, so that could easily be rectified by a matter of perspective. Where it's so you know how look at any graph of of our Earth solar system, right?
Okay.
Notice how the planets on the graph or the picture are perfectly spaced out, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not how it is in real life. In reality, they're hundreds and hundreds of miles away, and there are easy gaps in camera angles where you could completely miss all the other planets, and if you were to look at Earth. So this is a matter. This is a point of view thing.
I believe that comic implied that all those they were moons, not planets.
Potentially,
wasn't it the many moons of Mobius?
Maybe I don't remember exactly.
I don't either, and I'm not gonna go try to figure it out. But I'm sitting here. Every time they go to space, I'm looking.
Be cool if space was purple, though.
Yeah, well, and so there is that strip of purple in the background. I'm like, okay, so what's going on there? There's an image of just a purple streak going across space. And is that where all the moons are? Is that where all the planets are?
Space dust.
I know.
All right, is it time for emails?
Yeah, you actually have a guitar. Yeah. That you always have.
Yes.
Because we always have a guitar when we do this bit.
Now it's time for Sonicgrams. You can write to Sonicgrams. Oh yeah, it's a legally distinct Sonicgrams. It's an unaffiliated Sonicgrams. We made our own Sonicgrams.
All right. We have an email. Sorry, my hotel fan started blasting on me and it's cold and I don't want it. All right. We have a email from Plasma K. Greetings from issue 24. I love your podcast. Listening to it while at work was nice. Keep it up. Thank you. I wonder how you come to think that there's no continuity between classic and adventure games. There are humans, but Robotnik has to come from somewhere. Also, did you know that Sonic is canonically born on Christmas Island, which makes him Australian? I didn't know Christmas Island. Yeah, I did know the Christmas Island thing, but it didn't click in my head that he'd be Australian. As for the adventure, the continuity between games, kind of a vibes thing, I think, personally. Did you have that opinion too?
Yes, very much so. So there's the thread of here's the basic character and their interactions with each other, and then you just kind of transplant that from series to series to series. So yes, classic, adventure, later 2000s, etc. Right? And
for sure, yeah, that's exactly It's
so the
always
thing that we're
like-
talking about, I think what we were talking about whenever this was like the continuity, like a direct continuity where like they mentioned the specific character that they did, or like that this character did, and then that means this ties it to this exact scene, etc. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, in like a very specific event, like I think Speed Boom called it out in an email where like people were annoyed that the moon wasn't destroyed in later Sonic games. I was just like, yeah, that makes sense to me because I didn't think they were like directly connected.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely like a vibes thing because I definitely think, and this might actually come down to more that I haven't played a lot of the newer Sonic games.
True.
But
I think we're repeating our conversation from before, but
yes.
The last decade of Sonic games, I think they're trying really hard to be more cohesive, holistically as well, both across media.
Agreed, 1000%. It's like I mean, I sit there and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I watched a decent amount of Frontiers, and I'm like, I don't know if Frontiers Sonic felt like Sonic Adventure Sonic, and it didn't seem like a thing of growth. It just felt like different characters, right? My opinion of this might actually change as we sit down and play through all the Sonic games,
which we are
teaser
doing,
for
so
a Let's Play that will be coming out early January. Only reason why it's not coming out earlier is because I might have forgot to upload the footage before I left for a month. Yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, new writer, new listener, or someone who wrote in for the first time. Appreciate it.
Hey, another reason is like I feel like there are definitely sorry to come back to this. It feels like there are certain games that Sonic is in where it feels like there's not like outside of Robotnik or Eggman, whatever we want to call him. Outside of Eggman, there's no humans, and other games where there's plenty of humans, right? Like Adventure 06, the werewolf one, I'm pretty sure there's humans. But then, like, okay, I technically haven't played Sonic Boom, but I don't remember humans being in Sonic Boom or
in the cartoon.
Colors, I don't think there's humans. But again, this is I'm not the best one to be talking to about this yet, because I've watched a little bit of like my friend play those games like once. So
I just like the idea of if it is a scenario where Robotnik is like the only human, I still like that dynamic because it's like he is completely stomping all over this, like he is a foreign and rare type of fauna in this global ecosystem that does not make sense of this humanity, of these technological wonders, and I think that's really, really cool.
Well, I also, and that implies that he's like the last of his kind. Like, can Sonic truly just end?
It feels
the
like the
last
comic
human
in that way, right?
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Plasma K, for writing in. We also have a email from Speedboom, written as a response towards episodes 24 through 26.
Thank you for citing the episode that you watched in the beginning of the email, because that puts where our minds are at.
Yeah, back then, I have to try to remember what we're even talking about. Yeah, back then there wasn't really a specific style. Oh, I think he's literally talking about this same exact thing. Whatever. Let's go in. Yeah, back then there really wasn't a specific style that anything but the games tried to keep with. As the comic goes on, characters will start to look more like Sonic characters. The art style really starts to look closer to the games around issue 160, when artist Tracy Yardley comes in. Tracy Yardley? What is the voice actor's name for Lisa? Yardley Smith. Okay, I knew it was Yardley something.
Dude, I'm looking up Tracy Yardley on Google right now. Oh, I love this. This is iconic. This is the IDW shit right here. This is so clean.
Oh, like how he draws, how they draw.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Right?
I assume you Googled the same thing I Googled, so we see the same thing.
Tracy Yardley.
Limit.
I've got your limit right here. You're looking at that one?
Yep.
That's so fucking good.
Yeah. That's anime.
Honestly, it's some Spaziante right there. We can say that now. We can
Yeah,
see
we
the
know
threads.
what that means.
We know shit.
All right. Until then, be prepared for some wacky art styles that wouldn't make you think of Sonic at all. I'm excited for that. I think that's going to be really fun. One thing you should know, Ken Penders loves Jeffrey St. John. He created him as basically his baby.
That's his self-insert. That's his fantasy self-insert.
Yeah, that was the vibe I got. Definitely self-insert. So the fact that he loves him makes perfect sense. Also, why are you guys talking about the Costco guys? I watched the show to escape them. I'm kidding. Honestly, I really don't hate them that much. I've grown to really like the Costco kid more because he's hanging out with the Rizzler while everyone else is hyping up. He'll constantly call him out on his crap. I have no idea what's happening.
Don't know what you're talking
considering
about.
I hate the Rizzler.
That's Nick's fault.
I've grown. This is my fault for even bringing them up on the podcast. I have grown to like the Costco kid, who they called him Big Justice. Yes, I'm aware I'm getting unhealthy and enraged at an 8-year-old, but I can't stand his smug little face. I don't hate the kid. I hate the character that most likely his family and the internet has made him put on. Also, the kid who looked miserable and like he wanted to kill himself on Jimmy Fallon. Not Kimmel. I knew as soon as I was done with the episode, I said it wrong. But thank you for correcting me. And I've never related more to a late night host more in my life. Also, you misinterpreted my email, but to be completely fair, I definitely could have worded it better. Ian and Ken did not work together. Ian was hired after Ken left in order to be the main writer.
Okay, that makes sense to me. So,
yeah, that does make more sense. Dominic, we have some questions for you.
Okay.
Where is the iCarly fanfiction? Is it on AO3?
So I will never obviously disclose what the stories were, or my author name at the time, but it was on fanfiction.net, the OG. Well, I don't know if it's the true OG, but it's one of the OGs.
Okay, I don't know what AO3 is, or A03. I think it's
actually. I think I don't know if that's newer or older, but it also is very popular. Those are the big ones: is AO3, Wattpad, and fanfiction.net.
If either myself or a user thinks they found the fan fiction, would you confirm or deny if it was shown in front of you?
Let's play a game. If we just leave it to the listeners, they're gonna find it eventually. I trust the internet to find everything eventually because they have infinite time to do it. I know I would.
Sure.
Right? But if Nick is the one to do it, and I only let him one guess per episode, I think that would be way more fun.
Okay.
So Nick gets one guess.
Okay.
And you have to feed.
You're going to make me.
You can only feed Nick the guess on Blue Sky. So follow Nick at Mojosaurus on Blue Sky and DM him. Link him fanfiction.net stories. And it's like, hey, this week, guess this one.
Dominic, I think now is obviously we're doing this. But I think now is a great time to let you know that I literally know nothing about iCarly. Okay. I know.
You just have to pick one. You just have to pick one that people send you.
The main actress is, what's her face? And
Miranda Cosgrove.
Yeah, and she like had a webcam series or something, and that's it. That's all I know.
Series. Yes, the character of Carly Cosgrove is not Carly Cosgrove. Carly Spent either way. I'm not the biggest iCarly fan in the world, but at the time I was. Before
I was going to say, you don't get to say that. You wrote iCarly fan fiction. That puts you in like a category above the. You're in like top 100 fans.
Oh, the amount of iCarly fan fiction out there.
Is there actually a lot?
There's a shit ton. I think there was, because that was like the golden age of that shit, right?
Have you ever
looked of that specific era of TV
at that fan fiction?
Say one more. Say again.
Have you ever looked back at the fan fiction? Like, what do you like? What if it's like the most popular iCarly fan fiction there is? You know?
I have. I can't say anything because I don't want to give any clues, but I have, and I will say about the writing. I like the idea a lot still. Like, I really like the idea that I was going for. I thought I was real smart. But the thing that I was weakest at was the dialogue, and like not realistic sounding, but just like pleasing dialogue, right?
Well, now I know what to look for.
Yes.
You've given me too many hints.
Oh yeah, a great hint. Cringy dialogue on fanfiction.net. You've really nailed it.
Yeah, no, there's everyone there is like pretty established with their writing abilities. So cringy writing is gonna stick out like a sore thumb.
Yep, all the writers over,
especially when it comes to the iCarly boards, everyone is like George R. R. Martin over there. So I'm going to ignore these other questions he asks specifically relating to the iCarly fanfiction because you will not answer them. I will ask because I feel like this is an obvious answer because you wrote this a while ago, correct? So was this before the revival series?
Yeah, that I can safely say is before the revival. So anything from the Paramount revival, yes. So this is the OG series.
Okay.
You know what? I'll give one hint. I am 30 years old.
So it could have been written anywhere between last year and wow, and then Speed Boom just starts making fun of me immediately for getting Mr. Negative wrong. Wow.
Mr. Negative from Spider-Man?
Yeah, so I'll tell you why I'm pretty sure I thought this. Mr. Negative was not created for Spider-Man PS4 game, but he was introduced fairly recently in 2007. However, many people do consider the PS4 version to be his best incarnation by far, even including the original comic version. I can almost guarantee you where I learned that because I stopped reading comics and like. Stopped reading comics is not the right word because I didn't really start, but like the only comics I really read for Spider-Man was the Ultimate Comics. And I listened back then, I used to listen to a gaming podcast that I feel like they got a lot of information wrong a lot when it came to stuff like that. And about 90% sure one of them said that Mr. Negative was like a new hero made for the game. And I just never looked it up and just ran with it. I could be wrong, but I'm like 99% sure that's exactly where I got that information from.
Gotcha. Real quick aside.
I never.
So this is going back to the previous topic. AO3 was launched in 2008. Fanfiction.net was launched in 1998. That's insane to me.
Hell yeah.
That is insane. And,
hell yeah.
Registration was open to all, I'm on Wikipedia, to all people who claim to be over 18, and by 2002, over 118,000 people were registered. At that time, in 2002, 1/3 of the registrants self-identified as 18 or younger, and 80% were female. Maybe this is why I'm like, I have a shit ton of like women friends, and it's not weird. It's because I was on fanfiction.net. And like I learned the girl code of like how to talk normally, like share emotion. Maybe that was it, you know.
Where are we? Sorry, I lost track. Great. Now I want a Persona Spider-Man game too. Great idea, right? Literally the perfect video game. I already have been haunted by the concept of an X-Men Persona game that I'll never get. That's also a fantastic. X-Men also lends itself very well to the same concept. That never even crossed my mind. I think maybe that's closer to I never played that card game. I heard that card game X-Men. Is it X-Men?
I don't know what you're talking. I don't know.
There's like an XCOM-ish card game that came out recently that I thought was no, it's Marvel, not just X-Men. So yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Ignore me. But that feels like it almost has the vibes you want there. I just remembered someone saying that Blade like hung out in a book club or something, and I was like, or maybe it was like the Punisher or someone ridiculous, and I was like, you know what? That's dumb enough where I kind of want to play this game.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, and like I wish I could think of. I'm just gonna because now I'm like bothered.
I like a good
Marvel.
warrior monk, where it's like a very educated but also brutal combatant.
Midnight Suns.
Okay.
That game. Yeah. All right. Trust me on a tidbit about Sonic shoes being based on Michael Jackson is confirmed by Naoto Oshima. This is why we need Mike F here, because he knows how to say Japanese names. The original creator, designer for Sonic himself. I, like you, also don't think the shoes look like Michael Jackson's, but I'm not going to argue with the creator of Sonic himself. And I wouldn't present you guys with a fun fact if I wasn't reasonably sure that it was true. Well, thank you. For being 100% on your fun facts, but I will argue with the creator of Sonic himself if I think he's wrong. And it seems like he's wrong in this instance. So obviously, the comic sets up Sally, Jeffrey romance, which means it sets up Sally caught between two guys kind of thing. Weirdness of that alone, I would like to read to you a direct quote, no alteration from the man Ken Penders himself. Nothing like this ever happens in the book, so it's I don't consider it spoilers, but you do need to hear this insanity. I should have sent this to you so you can do Ken Penders' voice.
Ken Penders' voice? What is that?
I mean, there's probably lots of videos of him talking. We can probably find it. The one story I couldn't tell. Oh my God. Sorry, I'm already... We were debating on whether or not we want to do emails today, and I'm really glad we did now. The one story I couldn't tell was Sally losing her virginity to Jeffrey. Sonic may be fast, but Jeffrey was faster on the draw in that department. Someone replied, okay, but like she's a minor and he's a full-grown adult though.
When was this? Replied, when was this conversation? When was this conversation?
Based on how this is being worded, presented? This feels like this is off the forums.
So like 2000s?
But I don't know. Okay. I could probably send this information to you, and if it's a direct quote, I'm sure it's a very easily found.
Okay.
Let me post it in chat.
Okay. Continue.
Someone replied, okay, but like she's a minor and he's a full-grown adult though. And he replied, there are states here in the US where a 13-year-old can marry someone in their 40s. As repugnant as that reality is, Sally was 16 to Jeffrey's 20, so I don't see a problem given the relationship and royal history. I have not edited these quotes in any way.
This is from 2019 on Twitter. Huh. So that makes it worse.
Yeah, because no one can be held responsible for anything said before the year 2050.
No, not even that, but like the
I know. I'm
just... The fact that you still have this opinion, even if you still believe it, but you know it's 2019 and what social media is, you could at least be smarter about it. All right. Well, no, thank you. But thank you, Ken Penders, for at least expressing your truth. Telling your truth.
Well, I mean, I guess. See, I don't buy the fact that Jeffrey's 20. Like, I get that Ken made the character and stuff. I feel like that's walking it back. And like that was decided later because he definitely feels older in his very first iteration. Maybe as like the comics go and develop, maybe they retcon it so that he's younger. But in this first iteration of Jeffrey, I stand by the fact that that dude is fucking 28.
Mm-hmm.
At minimum.
Yes. Everyone in the replies of this Twitter thread is just like, what the fuck are you talking about? And it's every reaction gif under the sun. It's great.
Get him, Twitter. Back when Twitter was good. Also, Nick loves Steven Universe. My respect for him has grown. Hell yeah. Steven Universe is great. It's literally like, if I was to make a top 10 TV shows, Steven Universe would probably make it. Yeah, that shit rules. I love me. Pearl is like my favorite character in any media, and Rose. I love them both so much.
As in, like, Rose the Hedgehog?
Yeah,
Like Amy Rose.
Amy. Yeah,
Yeah. Sorry, that threw me off.
That's why I love her
Like,
so
why
much.
did you call her Rose by her last name?
that's the issue. Only 400 left to go. I'm Nick. I stream at twitch.tv/Mojosaurus. My personal blue sky is at Mojosaurus.
And I'm Dominic. Sorry, I was like, I don't have anything to look at. And I'm Dominic. You can follow my jazz adventures in Chicago at Blue Collar Jazz. I just posted something for the first time in a shit long time. And did I tell you, Nick, did I tell you the story of how I wandered into the original Billy Goat Tavern in Chicago?
I mean, I don't know how that's a story because it's just a restaurant you can go to. I've gone there quite a few times.
It's down the street from Andy's Jazz Club, yes. But
Okay,
I'm not going to tell the story.
Okay, I'm thinking of the wrong one.
I'm not going to tell the story, but regardless, I posted a cool series of residency that the Blue Shift Big Band has at Andy's Jazz Club on Mondays. Maybe it'll change in 2025, but they just released they gifted me I should have brought it up here. They gifted me a vinyl because I was putting posts on of their latest album, which is an all Mario album, big band charts. So it's original big band interpretations of the Mario series. So go
That sounds awesome.
check out at Blue Collar Jazz, which is my profile, and on that link tree you can find I'm very proud of this playlist. It's called Video Game Jazz Covers, and it's the best of the best of video game jazz covers. And it's not just like, oh, here's the Mario theme and it's got like it's a swing version and then it's over in 2 minutes. No, this is some serious fucking jazz. That is
This is
I mean look, I also roll my eyes at real jazz, serious jazz, but it's actually some very well-informed, like, educated fucking shit, and it's mature stuff. So it's mature work. So either way,
mature jazz.
Mature jazz, yes. Go check that out. It's at Blue Collar Jazz, and then my blue sky is at Dom Guan. So send the fanfiction.net guesses to Nick without any context. Just send him links to fanfiction.net, iCarly stories.
Yep. I love this core concept because if we get fans later down the line, they're gonna like, even if after I figure it out, I've like low-key maybe committing myself to always just be receiving iCarly fan fiction in my DMs.
And we keep doing this where we just keep making more new bits for people to follow and latch onto. So it's like, I like to think 5 years down the line, we're still doing this, of course, but like just one day you'll get like a shit ton of iCarly, like a spike where it's like, oh, that episode just hit the algorithm, didn't it?
Yeah, I can't wait for that. You can follow us on socials at Gotta Talk Fast. TikTok is Gotta Talk Faster. We also have a video version of the podcast where you can follow along with panels and watch our handsome faces. You can write in at the show at Sonicgrams at gottatalkfast.com, ask us questions, provide corrections, and give us your opinion on this week's issue. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and remember, when life keeps going fast, you gotta talk fast and just get through it. I love you. The sync isn't gonna...
No, from my end, that was perfect. Great work.
Oh.
Gotta talk, gotta talk.
Gotta Talk Fast was written by Nick Folkerts and edited by Dominic Guanzon. Intro and outro themes recorded by Dominic Guanzon. Gotta Go Fast originally composed by Norman J. Grossfeld, Joseph Garrity, and Russell Velasquez.
Gotta talk, gotta talk. Gotta talk, gotta talk. Gotta talk, gotta talk. Gotta talk. Gotta talk. Fast. Gotta talk. Fast. Gotta talk. Fast. Gotta talk. Fast.